Welcome back to our interview with horror film legend George A. Romero, creator of the whole modern-day zombie subgenre. George, let's turn briefly to your experience working inside the Hollywood studio system. After the phenomenal success of Dawn of the Dead, you were pretty well sought after. During your Hollywood period...
My blue period?
I'm kind of thinking roughly the era from Creepshow to perhaps, I don't know, the dark half?
Yeah, actually Creepshow was independent. When we made Dawn of the Dead, we didn't have U.S. distribution, and the movie was distributed first in Europe. Very successful, and so a U.S. distributor picked it up based on that success. That distributor also had an affiliated film production company. They said to us, we'll finance 4 movies for you. And they did. So, I mean, that was the best period of my life. I mean, because it was like having a job. And they financed Creepshow, Day of the Dead, Night Riders, you know, and it was just, we just went from one film to another. And they basically left me alone and gave me the creative control. Now, in the case of Creepshow, because we had stars in it and all that, they were able to sell it to Warner Brothers. So everyone thinks I made that film for Warner Brothers, but I didn't. I made it for the same small company, and Warner Brothers bought it. Okay. And it, by the way, is the only film that I've ever had that hit the #1 charts, variety charts.
Monkey Shines.
Yeah.
It was a pretty entertaining thriller. I'm trying to recall exactly. He was a man confined to a wheelchair, young man, and he had a monkey trained to assist him, but the monkey goes nutso or something. I forget exactly why. It wasn't genetically modified monkey. I'm not.
Yeah, the monkey's been tampered with genetically.
Okay.
I love the movie. I mean, I love it a lot. The only thing I don't like about it is the ending. I mean, we were basically forced to change the ending by Orion. The only way the movie got made, this was right from day one, was they said the guy has to recover. We can't make a movie where the guy doesn't recover and be able to go off with his lover. Okay, so I did a lot of research, and I found an actual way that this guy could have been misdiagnosed and that he could recover. So that was fine. Not fine with me, but that was okay with me. What happens with a film is that you preview it for test audiences. Only after the film was released did we get to see the cards, and what people were complaining about was the fact that the guy recovered, not the darkness of the ending. That's the way it goes. The preview process is terrible. It's always previewed out on the West Coast somewhere, usually in Orange County, where every kid has a BMW or a Mercedes. I've actually gotten preview cards which say, I don't like the cars that your characters are driving. I mean, it's unbelievable. Yeah. And the studios react to this stuff. You know, they ought to preview it in Minneapolis or in Winnipeg, you know, wherever. But they don't. It's always sort of West Coast premieres, and the studios always have their own agendas. And if they want something to happen, they will sort of twist the results of the previews in order to make that happen. It's a very flawed process, and it's used to studio advantage all the time, and often to their detriment.
It must be very satisfying to be at the point where you're at now and kind of look back on your work and the kind of legacy you've left culturally. You know, the zombie films have crossed over. Maybe at one time they were that section of the video store that, you know, was a little seedy kind of a thing, some of the lesser titles on the shelf.
You mean it's not seedy anymore? Please don't tell me it's not seedy anymore.
You still got the edge, George. You still got it.
It certainly is stupefying, number one. And, of course, it's gratifying. All of a sudden, zombies have become, you know, hot. One of these days, a zombie's going to show up on Sesame Street and hang out with the Count. I mean, it's like, geez, what's going on here? The zombie, I don't know. It'll probably wind up eating something, but
maybe Elmo.
Stop him from giggling. Anything to stop him from giggling.
Where can you go with the zombie genre now? Can you kind of hint maybe where you'd like to take this saga to its inevitable conclusion?
What I'd love to do is 2 more films involving minor characters from Diary that go off on their own adventures and have people meet each other and have story points resolved and all that. Now, I don't know if this is going to happen. It largely will depend on how well Survival of the Dead does financially. I'm working on a script right now, which is a non-zombie. It's a horror film, but it's not a zombie film. Right now, I'm happy. I mean, I just literally finished a video release of Survival within the last couple of months, and I'm still traveling. In fact, I just got back from Europe promoting that, so I'm still promoting that film. I'm just waiting for the next shoe to drop.
George, it's been a supreme pleasure speaking with you, and I just want to thank you very much again and want you to know you've got a lot of fans here in Winnipeg.
Actually, I think that there's going to be a horror convention there soon, maybe early in the year. I don't know. I think that I'm booked for something over there.
Oh, why don't I know that? Wow.
I don't know. Why don't I know it? I'm terrible, but I know there's something going to be there for something. I think it's next year. I mean, it's after New Year's. So whenever, if you hear about that, show up and say hello.
Thanks very much, George.
Thank you very much. It's really been fun.
And thanks to everyone listening in tonight to join us for this very special Halloween presentation. I'm John Copsey. Happy Halloween. Stay safe and stay scared.
You've been listening to a CJOB 68 exclusive, Inside the Mind of George A. Romero, the grandfather of the zombie. Executive producer and host, John Copsey. The preceding program has been copyrighted and cannot be reproduced in any form without the written consent of CJOB 68, the Information Superstation.